Let me tell you something that most people don't realize until it's too late. Gaslighters don't lose because they lie, because they flub up, because they are stronger, or they have more money, all of those things. Or the other person is stronger and has more money or has the better story. All of those things don't matter. Gaslighters end up losing because you precisely go after them, because you have a strategy that works. And in court, the fastest way to dismantle a gaslighter is not to stand up and go, they're a narcissist and I'm the right one and they're the wrong one. That's actually not going to work at all. What works is asking the right questions and in the right order. And I can tell you that as a trial lawyer of now more than 25 years, I have spent decades in the courtroom, in mediation, in negotiations, and I know what works to dismantle a gaslighter, to expose them, and more importantly, for you to get real results. By the way, if you're new here, I invite you to subscribe and hit that bell because we drop awesome tips every single day. So let's get into today's topic, which is 10 questions that lawyers use to expose gaslighting on the stand. The first thing is that you got to know that how you're going to expose them is through a very calculated form of questioning and exposing of their patterns in a way that they're not even going to see it coming. So the first question that you ask is, do you recall saying XYZ? Now, you're actually not really asking them to recall to what they actually said. You're going to feed them what you know that they said. And so you're going to say, do you recall saying XYZ? Now, they may say, no, I never said that. But what you're going after is the opportunity to box them in. You're not actually trying to get them to do anything right here other than boxing them into something, okay? So do you recall saying? You're asking if they remember saying it. Gaslighters thrive on ambiguity. This just helps you remove that wiggle room for them down the road. Either they are going to say yes, or they might say no. But if they say no, then you're going to present them with evidence that proves that they said it, okay? So let's say that they say yes, because once they say yes, everything after that becomes provable. So question number 2 is, was that before or after blank? Gaslighters hate timelines, which is why that's the very first thing that I tell you to create is a timeline. When people come into my programs, the first thing I say is start gathering your documentation, make a timeline. Start creating incidents and documenting them, and then make a timeline. Why? Because timelines turn chaos into evidence. Real evidence. The sequence exposes their lies. So this question forces linear thinking and triggers cognitive overload in a liar, and it creates contradictions super fast. So they're actually going to be triggered, which is not necessarily a bad thing either. So they're either going to guess or they're going to end up contradicting themselves later. Either way, you win. Question number 3 is, what was your understanding at the time? So this is a courtroom favorite. I like this because you're not arguing facts. You're asking them to define their own mindset. And later, when they're going to see that their actions don't match their intent, then it exposes their inconsistencies. And that will speak for themselves, okay? Question number 4 is, who else was present? Gaslighters rely on isolation. This question introduces witnesses and limits rewriting history. So it'll signal that there's some kind of corroboration, even if you never call that witness, and you're going to watch their confidence and smugness start to decline here. Okay. Question number 5 is that your standard practice? This is devastating when used correctly. If they say yes, you're showing repeated behavior. If they say no, you show a deviation. Right? Either way, the pattern emerges. This is why I think it's really important to use AI. I have built my own AI system, Slay AI, which will help you. You can get started with it for free at slaypro.ai, help you start organizing your evidence, creating your incidents, flagging contradictions, creating patterns, court-ready exhibits of patterns. All right, so you can try it for free at slaypro.ai. Let's go back to question number 6. Question number 6 is, when did you first become aware of this? Gaslighters often claim ignorance until it's inconvenient. This question exposes selective awareness. It creates contradictions with emails, texts, or filings, and it sets up an impeachment later. Timing matters more than the truth here. It's all about the timing. Leverage is timing. Question number 7 is, can you point me to where that's documented? Gaslighters speak in feelings. Courts operate in documents. Remember, data, not drama, facts over feelings, patterns equal power. And this question forces proof or silence, records or retreat, and silence is not persuasive. Question number 8 is it possible your recollection has changed? This is surgical. You're not accusing them of lying. You're offering them the opening. You're offering them a graceful opening to change their story. If they refuse it, they look rigid and unreliable. And if they accept it, their certainty collapses. Question number 9 is, so just to be clear, never underestimate the power of summarizing their own words against them. This is so powerful. This questions their memory and it makes them doubt themselves. So it locks in their testimony. It removes future interpretation or reinterpretation, and it sets up your closing argument or your lawyer's closing argument, okay? And clarity is lethal to gaslighting. And then question number 10 is, would you agree that consistency is important? This is the closer. They have to say yes. They're going to have to say yes to this. And once they do, every inconsistency becomes intentional, not accidental. Here's what I want you to remember. You don't beat gaslighting by reacting. You beat it by structuring reality. Questions create structure. Patterns create structure. Leverage wins cases. It's not actually having like the best lawyer, the most expensive lawyer, the this, the that. It's actually having the best leverage. So if this helped you, I want you to do a couple things right now. I want you to like the video, give it a thumbs up, and then share it with somebody who needs to hear this. And then I want you to make sure that you have subscribed and you've hit that bell. If you've ever built anything from scratch, whether it's a business, a brand, or a podcast, you know there's nothing small about it. The decisions, the hustle, the grind, the pressure, it's so all-consuming. And that's why I was so grateful to find Shopify when I set up my own store, shop.rebeccazung.com. Shopify powers millions of businesses worldwide and handles 10% of all e-commerce in the US, from giants like Mattel and Gymshark to brands just starting out. It simplifies everything: inventory, payments, analytics, marketing, all in one place, and their built-in tools make it so easy to run email and social campaigns that keep customers coming back. If you're selling globally, Shopify can help you do that too at over 150 countries. If you're selling in person, their award-winning point of sale brings your online and retail worlds together. And with 99.9% uptime and the best converting checkout on the planet, you'll never miss a sale. Get all the big stuff for your small business right with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 a month trial and start selling at shopify.com/negotiate. That's shopify.com/negotiate. The next video I want you to watch is how attorneys prove narcissistic abuse in court. So go watch that video next. And remember that you can start Slay AI for free. So you can start documenting, you can start creating patterns. You do this all instantaneously. It's completely private dashboard. So you can do that at slaypro.ai. Remember that you are not powerless. You are not at the effect of, you're not a victim. You're actually super powerful. The more powerful you become, the more they end up having a tantrum. If they're having a tantrum, that means that you're getting closer and they're getting more ready to give up. All right. So you're on the right track. Now you have the right questions and you have tools. All right. So I will see you in that next video.